This is the CCTV and Cash strat for Clubhouse. This is quite a long and extensive video on how to play it, so I'll put timestamps in the comments so you can skip forward if you are not interested in the examples I'm gonna give in this video. We're starting with the Maestro. He's going to be playing rafters. First of all, he's going to put a cam on breach and default. You have to hit the monitor there so you can vault up. You can place a Maestro cam there. This one can see default and it can see the breach, obviously. Then you're going to make a rotate towards the rafters for yourself. And then you can put a Maestro there. This one is to look at garage and shoot cams and support the rafters player, which in this case is going to be yourself. After that, you can put some barbed on the stairs. I like to put it lower and upper stairs, but you can also put the upper stairs one at the door. After this, you're going to be reinforcing the single wall to protect yourself again for when breach gets opened, otherwise you're open to possible wall bangs. Then you're gonna sit at rafters. Rafters is quite an important and difficult position to play because you can be shot from breach. The single wall denying that, but if you play R90 you can get shot from breach, as you see here. You can also see it's a very tough fight to take, especially because as Maestro you only got the one-time scope and they usually have a 1.5 or higher. You see R2 is clear, but from R1 you can get shot from breach again. Our garage door is also a threat to rafters, obviously, and you can be a little bit aggressive on it by pre-firing or peeking, but I recommend not doing this too much, as you are a vital player to stay alive as long as possible. For another threat is them opening up lower garage and either stunning you out of there, soft stunning, nading from below. All of those are possibilities, and you got to be careful of that. Luckily you have the Maestro cam, which you see top left, and that can tell you if they're lower garage. Now here you're gonna see me take a fight, and I'm on purpose being too aggressive here, and I'm gonna get punished for it in a minute. Even though this fight is very advantageous to me, I still am gonna lose this because I am too aggressive, which I shouldn't be. I could waste tons of more time if I weren't peeking, but to show you what you shouldn't do, here's an example. Because in the kill cam here, you're gonna see how easy it was to kill me. Just some pre-fires and it's done. Here's the example of the nade. First of all, they can throw it from garage door, obviously, but they also can go below, like I talked about earlier with the Zoff, and you're an easy kill there, so you got to be careful of that. Here you see me using Hapatao to open up the lower garage. This is how you get control to the lower garage. Usually it's of course the Habana or something else, and that's how you enter. Here I'm going to show some fireballs which you can use. In this case I use the smoke bolts first to give a very good example. So here you can smoke from breach, you can smoke R90 off, and while that can be fire which spreads to R2 for a little bit. You can also go to the door here and fire from here, but it is dangerous, so I do not recommend it. However, it is effective because you see completely R2 is fired off, and he either has to rotate R1 or R90, which is going to cost him his life because there's someone playing on breach and quite possibly me peeking from garage door. However, most teams, especially league teams and shit, will go from below, and they will use 2 firebolts, so one on the left side of R2 and one on the right side, and it'll force you off, which can make you be vulnerable from either breach or from the garage door, or even from the player below who frags you off easily. Here we have some gameplay examples. First of all, we're attacking CC right now, and there's a mute on rafters which we gotta get off. So I use the Hibana pellets here to open up the single wall, And you gotta be careful of that if you're playing rafters, because some smart players might use that, but you can ask a friend to cover that for you. So here we drone out the mute, and he's quite fucked, because he has to go prone, and that costs him his life. As you can see, he's an easy frag for us, and it leads to us having garage control. That's why also a player around bottom garage or lounge is very vital to protect against those sort of pushes. Now this is a clip of me playing Maestro on rafters, just like in the strat. You see the single wall reinforced. I have my ADS here set up, and I'm playing R2 because that's the most safe. And here I'm playing this spot quite aggressively in this round, and even though I'm aggressive, I'm not peeking for nothing. I'm just pre-firing and seeing what happens, and I get a frag because of it, because the I don't know what operator, but someone with stuns extended too much, and it led to him being killed by my pre-fire. And you see here, I keep peeking here, and that's too aggressive. That's what I shouldn't be doing. I made a mistake here, because if someone swung, it would have been my life, which would have ended, and not his. So here again, I'm being too aggressive, and I shouldn't be. Here, I'm getting too aggressive, and it costs me. Even though I let this ace up, it's not worth it, because they have garage control now, and I could have wasted a ton more time or even gotten an extra frag if I just had been careful. Now you can also use the Maestro cams in this second example to shoot some drones. Here again I pre-fire, which is good because it gives me a frag, and now I play it a little more passive, which is the right thing to do. I'm on my cams looking at what happens, whether I can shoot some drones trying to drone me out. I have my ADS, and I just pre-fire to make them scared and not too comfortable, and just don't play too aggressive. That's the main takeaway here. In this clip I also play rafters. They're going to be pushing me with that Capitao, and they're gonna fire me out, and I have an example on how to react. First of all, my Maestro cam, seeing what happens, I see I got fired, and just decide to pre-fire the door, because it's customary to peek after you fired someone out, and I pick up the frag because of it. Here we're gonna do Jager. I start by reinforcing the wrong wall for this, so that's fucked. But you gotta reinforce the main wall, because you got quite a lot to set up, so it's easy and quick to do this one. We're gonna be putting an AS on the drone hole here, and that's to make sure the Cade or bandit is protected. After that, we're going to be putting a barbed on red. We're going to be doing two, because the Maestro is bringing barbed as well for garage, so Jager's barbed is not needed there. After that, he can put either his ADS on the CC window, or he can put it on the cupboard there, which is called tuck, to protect the shield smoke is going to place. I recommend putting the last one on rafters, obviously, and I usually do it on R2. Next one is smoke. Smoke has quite a lot to do, so he also reinforces two quick, easy ones. And in this case, it's going to be the main workshop wall. Then he makes the rotate into red, and also makes a hole there. Then he sets up holes for the smoke on default, and to frag on breach. He's going to make some holes here on the default as well to be shot from below, and then you put a shield at this place, which is called tuck, and then there in the left corner, which I talked about earlier, you can put an ADS. And last but not least, he's going to be reinforcing the single wall to red to protect the one playing on red. His main job here is to protect the shield, to play the shield, and in cash to anchor down the side, basically. So here's an example. So breach is opened, someone's on rappel, you can see him a little bit, and you can shoot at them, and they are obviously going to shoot back, so you got to be careful of what you peek. Now they can also jump in CC windows, so you got to be careful of that. You cannot be seen from there, but they can obviously jump in, as in the following example. If they get garage and they're going for default plant, you can smoke them off using the holes you made earlier, and then you get default here, which you can see here you get default, and everyone there is going to be taking damage. They can push from rotate and from window, and usually you're one of the last people alive, so you can hold rotate, but you can't play the shield on tuck if a garage is taken, because you'll be killed from the rotate. You can obviously also play the window here, but you can peek that, but you gotta be careful. I recommend pushing up a little bit and then peeking it, because you got the SMG-11 instead of a good gun. Here's an example of how powerful the smoke is. So he gets the first one here, and he smoked off. I didn't know if you saw, but you can see he smoked off and downed the ace because of it, and one is the round here. You can see the ace pushes, but it's smoked off and he dies because of it. That's the power of the smoke. Here you can see the tuck shield from the attackers. If you're playing the smoke here, you gotta be careful, because well, they have a 2-time scope obviously, and you have 1. So the fight is going to be about 50-50, because you got the shield. They can obviously take care of your shield there, but usually you'll have an ADS protecting the shield. But they can do it, and you gotta place your shield back enough, because there's an ADS going to be there where I'm showing. And if in this example I didn't place my shield far enough back, and it's going to be able to be killed from impacting the floor before, as you see here, and it cannot be caught by an ADS then. So remember to put the shield far enough back, otherwise your shield or your ADS will be useless there. Next up is the Cade. He's going to be reinforcing the garage walls, because he has nothing else to do basically. And I'll speed it up for you, because that's not really interesting. Now Cade has 2 choices of what to do with his charges. He can either protect the garage walls by putting them on the rafters and below the window, below the little numbers you saw there, and they're going to be indestructible. You can't get them from anywhere. And after that you're going to be playing red, because it's your job to protect red, and you can also protect the workshop push there. If breach gets opened, you gotta be careful, because they're more or less likely to be going to swing you late round, and you have the head glitch, but I recommend still being very careful and maybe not picking it, or only picking it off intel, because here's an example of what happens if you don't. So once again, here's the Cade class. You put it on the number 1 and number 2 if you want to protect the garage walls, and it'll get the garage walls, and it's an indestructible Cade, which I'll show later how. So basically this can only get Thatchered, and usually Thatcher is banned. So you put it on the number 1 and 2, and it gets all the garage walls. It can also be that they're not going for a garage take, or that they're not opening the garage. So here's some Cades for the main wall. So you can put it top left corner there. There's an ADS going to be protecting that Cade, and now it can only be Thatchered once again. It cannot be naded from below, and it can only be naded from the drone hole, as you'll see here. But you'll usually have an ADS on it, and it's more usual to push the Cade to use a Maverick. Now here's another one for the right side of the wall. This one's indestructible, can also not be killed from CC window, and it'll get only the right wall, but it's not very well known and almost impossible to get if you don't have garage control. So what you do is you open up the floor and you put it there. You only open up 1 layer, not both, and you'll get it easy here. And I'll show you now with the Kali how you cannot get either one of those Cade electrical charges, because the radius does not go through walls, etc., except for reinforcements, of course. So here you see, open it up, but it doesn't work. And I'm going to be showing you the same here for the garage walls. So you can put it in the middle, won't open it as on drone. And also, if I'm going to the next gate and I think I'm going to be smart and put it up high, it still won't open it. So it's indestructible and only vulnerable to thatchers or nades or something. Last up is going to be Valkerie. She doesn't have to do any reinforcements, but you can do if a teammate needs some assistance with the setup. And I'm going to be showing you some cams. This one looks at default a little more clearly than the Maestro cam and is a little more sneaky. Then I also recommend a lounge cams for holding below or knowing when the bandit trigger has to go away or something like that, and just play intel from below. And the last one's going to be outside CC window, and it's going to be on there. But some people put a cam garage. I recommend not doing that because you'll get the Maestro there on the ping I showed you. And here's going to be the Val cam on outside, and you don't have to break the whole of the window. You can also just slap one barricade if you want to be sneaky. And here it's on the tree, and you can see outside of garage on the west side, and also outside, so for runouts on CC window or something. Here you can see lounge. This is an example. You got an IQ below who wants to get some util, finds the cam, but you find her first. Well, here's it from an attacker's perspective. You can see it's pretty hard to see. It kind of blends in with the server here, and you can even get spotted on breach, which is dangerous because you'll be vulnerable to swings, maybe from tuck or from close breach or whatever. You'll see it here on the scanner. Second one is on the tree there, and it's very hard to see, as you can see here, and it can see me everywhere, outside garage, but also on the windows and on this entire balcony. So you're very vulnerable as an attacker there, which of course helps the defenders with the setup. So if you got someone playing master side, or someone even maybe peeking the CC window off this intel, it's usually a guaranteed free kill. You can even jump out of the CC window if you had got a Hibana here doing work on the garage wall, for example. Last one is lounge. Here it's IQ, you want to push in from below, maybe get the bandits, you're scanning, maybe Valcam, getting spotted, wanted to shoot some shit. And you're just very vulnerable from a lot of angles, from fucking bar, from push down red. That's why I personally like this Valcam.